Let's talk about adjusting our window on our TI calculator. If we have a quadratic like this and we want to find the zeros and we put that in our calculator and when we hit graph, we're not going to see anything. Let me show you what I mean. Put that in y equals and I have this right here. Here it is. And I hit graph. And it's nowhere to be found. So how do I get it into the screen where I can find the roots or the zeros? Well, what I want to do is look at my zoom options. I have several options here, several you probably know. Zoom in, zoom out, we use those quite a bit. Zoom standard, that's what I recommend you always do every time you hit graph. Rather than just hitting graph, use zoom 6, that'll take you to a standard viewing screen. Trig view, and zoom fit is what we'll use here. Zoom fit or zoom 0 will basically take the graph and bring it into view. Now this is a lot better than where we were because before we didn't have anything. However, if we want to find the zeros or the roots, we have one in view right here, but we're missing the left one. So let's see what we can do to bring this into a really good view. We want to adjust our window. If you notice the y-axis here, we have a lot of positive values up here. We have very few negative values down here. So I want to balance that out. So if I go to my window and look at my Y min and max, I'll notice that the Y minimum is at about negative 7,000. The Y maximum is at about 50,000. So that's just way too big. Using symmetry, let's just make the Y maximum an even 7,000. And let's see what happens to our view now. That basically put our y-axis into a better view for us. Now what we want to do is we can still get this right-sided root here, but we can't get the left-sided root. So what I want to do is move this parabola over to the right. So if this point right here is my x minimum, then if I made my x minimum, say, about over to here somewhere, then that would bring that left-sided root into view. Let's look to see what our x minimum is. Our x minimum is at negative 10. Let's make that at about negative 20. Let's see what happens. That's perfect. We went from having a parabola that we couldn't see at all, and by using some of the zoom features and adjusting our window, we now have a parabola where we can find the roots. Remember, I have another podcast of using a calculator to factor, and that will show you how to find the roots of the quadratic equation once it's into view on the viewing screen. Now, adjusting the window and using these zoom features just takes some practice, but with a little bit of practice, you'll be doing it like a pro.